Hello, everyone. I'm Gary Young. I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan. For reasons I won't go into right now, I spent my high school years in Dublin, Georgia, living with my grandfather. Living there, I did many things I wouldn't have been able to experience otherwise. But it seemed to me that he had certain expectations, and that environment didn't allow me to do things for myself in the sense of growing to reach what goals I'd set for myself. I graduated from high school when I was 16, and I decided to go to Eastern Michigan University. It wasn't far from Detroit, where I still have family, and Eastern is a great school. It's full of variety and independence. I was excited about going to college and driving myself into anything that I could put my mind to. Those plans would become derailed, though. You see, during my first semester, my grandmother became critically ill. She lived in Michigan, and she was going to need someone with her nearly 24/7. One of my aunts lived with her, but she worked long hours during the evening and didn't have much time to care for her mom. There really wasn't anyone else available to help out, so I had a dilemma on my hands. I made that decision to put my life on hold and go take care of her. Granted, I didn't expect it to take as long as it did, but I saw her through one of the worst health scares she'd had in her entire life. Nearly 2 years later, I decided I need to get my life back on track. I felt restless as I just turned 18, and I felt like I needed to get away from Michigan and find a place where I could start fresh. I have an uncle who had retired from the U.S. Army to Bremerton. I was talking with him about how I felt and how I felt like I needed to start over. He knows that I'm really big into technology and that that's something I've been doing my entire life. And so he told me about Seattle and the tech industry in this area. He made me an offer. He was trying to move back to Michigan to stay with his mom, and he had to sort out some business with his property in Bremerton. He would pay for me to come out here if I would help him with that. Now I had another choice. I could either stay in Michigan with my family and try to play it safe, or I could come and move across the country and take a risk and make a name for myself. I knew it would be tough, and of course not everything has turned out ideally, but in many ways, coming to Seattle has been one of the best things that has ever happened to me. At the time, though, I thought I'd gone crazy, giving up security for a world of ifs and maybes. But for the first time in my life, I felt truly liberated. It was as if I was finally tasting fresh air after being locked in a dungeon. I left Detroit with a few $100s, some clothes, this little netbook computer I'd had from my college days, and not much else. After my uncle left for the shores of Erie, I stayed in the Green Tortoise Hostel downtown. What little cash I had was going away fast. I knew I needed to find someplace to refocus and come up with a plan of action. My netbook, my most valuable tool, led me to YouthCare's Orion Center. That was my first brush with YouthCare and the extensive support community in the Seattle area. For the next month or so, I spent nights either there at the Orion Center or at Roots, or occasionally the landing in Bellevue. Getting into shelters hinges on a lot of luck. I was fortunate enough to only spend one night on the streets, and I'm thankful for that. I didn't like it, but it was necessary for staying off the streets and surviving out here. I've made a few friends and acquaintances. They're my best source of information, since they were going through the same situation I was, and they could empathize with me. I spent the days at the library, on the internet, looking for whatever opportunities I could find. All I had was a high school diploma and no job experience. I wasn't very attractive to potential employers, to say the least. For a while, I sold my plasma to help support myself. $30 or so per visit, twice a week. I applied and I got food stamps, $200 per month. But here I was, selling a part of myself for what amounted to table scraps. Do you have any idea how dehumanizing that felt? But still, I did what I had to do, regardless of pride or what I may have felt about it. Meanwhile, I was working with case management to find a place to live and for something productive to do. And they told me about Youth Tech. And I applied and I was accepted. But this was promising. This gave me the opportunity to get some actual technical experience and a certificate to go with my high school diploma. But I was still bouncing from shelter to shelter. A little while before starting Youth Tech, I was spending a night at Roots when I got an unexpected phone call. There was an opening at Catalyst, and should I choose to accept it, I could move in the next day. I jumped at that opportunity. Now, Catalyst is not perfect by any means. Some days living there, I found it just barely tolerable. There are 12 clients living there, provided all the spots are filled, and they usually are. And conflict is unavoidable. But it gave comfort to know that having a place to sleep at night wasn't going to be a game of chance anymore. I spent the next 3 months working hard in Youth Tech. Ken is a very great teacher, and that subject came naturally to me. I met every challenge she threw at us, and I excelled. I even did a few advanced chapters just because I wanted to get as much out of that experience as possible. But 3 months is a really short period of time, and I had to start planning for the next step. That is where Year Up comes in. That's an organization that aims to bridge the opportunity divide. It's tailored specifically for people like me, unfortunate souls who may have a lot of potential, but simply don't have much chance to exercise it. I heard about them from a friend of mine who was staying at the Uranus Center every night. I applied to that and I got in. I had 6 months of classes, computer skills, computer applications, business communications, and professional and life skills. All of this was designed with one thing in mind: to help youth from unfortunate environments prepare for a career in the corporate environment. But Year Up is unique in one aspect, in that they gave us internships to practice what we've been learning. I was fortunate enough to get an internship at the one company whose name is ubiquitous in the field of technology, Microsoft. I've been at Microsoft since January, working in software quality assurance for the business intelligence division. I get to help ensure that the software they use for data mining and statistics works the way it should. I get to create test cases and develop solutions for automating the testing process. It prevents some very interesting problems, and even though I haven't been there long, I've learned new things every single day. But what's next for me? After all, this internship only lasts until July. If I were able to start a career in quality assurance, that would be amazing. I know I want to go back to school. I want to take that previously aborted arc of my life and create a new story with it. I'm now in my own place, which I am very thankful for. And I have an overabundance of vague ideas of what I want to do. But when the time comes for me to take it to the next level, I will do whatever is necessary, because I'm never one to waste a perfectly good opportunity to do more and to better myself. But I could not have ended up with all these amazing opportunities were it not for organizations like YouthCare and Year Up. They look at us as more than just homeless youth. Where the average person might see just another street kid, they see the story behind the circumstance. They see a talented builder or an ambitious artist or a gigantic computer geek like myself. But there are hundreds or thousands of them out there, all with their own stories just like mine. And I could have very easily ended up on the street somewhere, destroyed and wasted, and thrown to the side like a used tissue. But a lot of us do end up there, and for no other reason than having no one to help guide us and to help us find some place where we can belong. But I'm grateful for YouthCare for being there when I needed them, to give me the tools I needed to finish my story and keep me from becoming something, or excuse me, to give me the tools I need to finish my story and keep me, or to allow me to become something great. Thank you very much. Thank you.